Quitting sugar can feel impossible. You've tried for years but always relapse, likely because you focused only on the most obvious advice. Avoid all products, clear pantry of sugar, skip sugary drinks, check labels, and eat fresh fruit. All of these tips are correct, but what will really get you results is, first, truly understanding why quitting sugar is hard for any human being, not just for you, and second, setting up measures that create behavioral barriers between you and sugar. And you, I'm Dr. Borja Bandera, and today I'm giving you 5 little-known tools to quit sugar for good, or at least reduce it significantly. Why is quitting sugar so hard? There are 5 reasons rooted in neuroscience, endocrinology, and microbiota. Listen first. Sugar disrupts the brain's reward centers, known as the mesolimbic pathway. The sweet taste followed by a rapid glucose spike triggers a surge of dopaminergic neurotransmission in these areas. And the problem isn't just this, it's the conditioning to anticipatory stimuli that end up releasing dopamine on their own. Walking past the bakery, the end of a meal when dessert usually comes, walking down the chocolate aisle at the supermarket, and so on. There are many. Do you know them? As a result, your brain turns into a machine for seeking and craving sweets, which is very frustrating. Second point, sugar impacts the pleasure centers and releases endogenous opioids. Sugary products are an emotional painkiller precisely because of this, and a socially accepted emotional painkiller that you have access to. During stress, sadness, or pain, we celebrate birthdays with cakes. And when you're sad, a friend gives you chocolate, right? The brain learns that sugar reduces discomfort. In fact, opioid antagonists like naltrexone reduce the pleasure from sweets and even decrease binge eating. Notice third, glycemic fluctuations fuel the cycle of intake. A diet high in glycemic load foods causes constant blood sugar spikes and drops. It rises quickly after digestion and drops when insulin acts. And this wide range and glycemic swings cause hunger during the drop, which precisely perpetuates the search for more sugar, another spike. In fact, the depth of that drop in blood sugar predicts calorie intake and hunger. The study shows that higher glycemic variability after eating leads to increased hunger and sugar intake. And lastly, perhaps the least known, the sugary microbiome asks for more sugar. When the microbiota receives excess sugar, it becomes more inflammatory and influences behavior through the microbiota gut-brain axis, increasing anxiety, sugar cravings, and mood issues. So your microbiota literally asks you for more sugar. And I would add something else. Many people don't know they're consuming sugar. Of course, the last problem I'll mention is that it's not the sugar you imagine, the one you put in your coffee in the morning. The truly dangerous one is the sugar you don't see, the sugar that's included in sauces, desserts, dairy products, snacks, chips, and so on. This is what increases your daily intake of simple sugars. Now, do you understand that consuming less sugar isn't just an act of willpower? This sweet molecule has altered your biology for decades, and now you need to start making major changes, which I'll explain now. 5 steps, and pay attention because there's one you've never heard of before, and that's this, Gymnema Sylvestre. Is it possible to make sugar taste like cardboard? Is there a plant extract that reduces sugar cravings that you haven't heard of? Extracts of Gymnema Sylvestre, rich in gymnemic acid. They temporarily block sweet taste receptors on the tongue, lowering sweetness perception and reducing the desire for sugary foods. I had no idea about this until I researched this video. In this study I'm showing, they reduced sugary drink consumption by 42%. Not bad, and they reduced sugar cravings by 28%. Adults who love sugar and have a real sweet tooth describe themselves that way. It's a tool, but let's discuss what I consider the most important one, even though it's the hardest to apply. Design your decisions to stay away from sugar. Most of your daily decisions are unconscious and follow conditioned behavior patterns. This applies to good and bad decisions alike. The concept of decision architecture was popularized by the economist Richard Thaler and the jurist Cass Sunstein in their 2008 book Nudge: Improving Decisions About Health, Wealth, and Happiness, which I recommend you read. In it, they explained that by modifying a person's environment and context, you can subtly influence their choices without restricting their freedom. This is the most important point, with many examples. Periodic subscriptions that renew automatically unless you voluntarily choose to discontinue them. This causes millions of unwanted subscriptions, including mine, to continue. Due to inertia, we choose the easiest option, and companies are aware of this. Second, place healthy foods at the beginning of a school buffet line and less healthy foods at the end. When we're hungry, we tend to choose what's most immediate, closest, what we see first. So, how does this relate to sugar consumption? There are plenty of examples. The only drinks in your house should be water or sparkling water, no other options. Apply the rule of visibility in reverse for sugary snacks, the products with the most sugar in your house. If you can't get rid of them, they should be placed in opaque containers and on the least accessible shelves at the back of the fridge, on the highest shelves. This exploits availability bias. If you have to climb onto a chair or a stool or move other things to get your reward, the impulse weakens. Third, apply the 10-minute delay rule to desserts. Most impulsive cravings are irrational and short-lived. Pausing lets us engage more rational thinking. Become aware that you are actually full, because almost every time you have dessert, you are already full. This way, it'll be easier to skip dessert or choose fruit, yogurt, or another healthier option. And of course, the golden rule, which I personally follow at home and consider the only infallible one. Don't buy anything you don't want to eat. Eating out, which should be the exception and not the rule, is the space set aside for eating something different or less healthy. When no one is watching you at home, that's when you should eat as clean as possible. The usual pattern I find in obesity tends to be just the opposite. When we go out, we worry a lot about others seeing us eat well, but when we're alone at home, we let our impulsiveness run wild. And are you at home more than outside? Remember this. Next tip, the first meal sets the tone for the rest. This is called the second meal effect. When you have a breakfast rich in protein and fiber, your digestive system releases blood. Hormones like LP, 1-peptide, tyrosine, and cholecystokinin are 3 hormones that prolong satiety throughout the day or for many hours. They reduce snacking and loss of control with food. Then there's the psychological effect in addition to the hormonal one. What did I say about winning the first battle with this? Starting your day with a workout or healthy meal makes you more likely to continue making good choices all day. Eggs with veggies, oatmeal, chia seeds and berries, kefir with walnuts, almonds, whole grain oats, scrambled tofu with avocado and tomato, etc. There are many options. The thing is, if you start off well, you'll most likely finish well, but that's not all. There is a group of pharmacological molecules and a special type of protein that can help in certain cases with sugar. Be a background character in your own life. Remove its importance. Which ones are they? Notice them. The family of drugs known as glucagon-like peptide, 1 receptor analogs, are used in type 2 diabetes and obesity because of their ability to help you lose fat and improve insulin sensitivity. What almost nobody knows is that they reprogram the addicted brain, generating a neurohormonal reset. When a patient starts semaglutide, liraglutide, tirzepatide, or similar drugs, the most common and unexpected comments from them during the follow-up visit, not during the checkups. It's Borja. I'm craving less alcohol and sweets. Why is that? It's simple. LP1 crosses the blood-brain barrier and affects brain areas such as the nucleus accumbens, ventral tegmental area, and prefrontal cortex. These areas are full of LP1 receptors, and that LP1 binds to those receptors when it activates them. In these areas, the release of dopamine in response to the intake of highly palatable foods is reduced, as well as in response to drugs like alcohol. As a result, the motivation to seek that reward is reduced. You no longer have the craving, and that cake or that beer doesn't motivate you as much anymore. Make no mistake, these drugs must be used with the proper indications, but when they can be used, they have this additional benefit. And the last lesser-known tip, and what's more, here's an opinion for you. Clear whey cold with citrus flavors. Let me explain. Clear whey is a protein with citrus, fruity flavors, more acidic, less creamy, and less sweet. This, as I said, is just a professional opinion, but in my case, it has worked for me. But I think a lot of people use the more common protein supplement flavors as a healthy substitute as well as for desserts, and that's a mistake. Flavors like Kinder Bueno, Dubai chocolate, Nutella, cookies and cream, etc. Sweets always attract more sweets. If you just replace sugary products with equally sweet ones containing sweeteners, are you really solving only part of the problem? Be honest. If you can't tolerate neutral protein flavors, give citrus flavors a try. They're not flavors you'll directly associate with sugar, and sweets that reduce the sweetness threshold. They have the same satiating effect on appetite and can even satisfy that urge to drink, something palatable and something different. I suggest citrus or berry flavors, which are least sweet, with cold water or crushed ice. If you want more mechanical satiety, you can enjoy it anytime, when you crave something sweet, between meals, or after a workout. It's worked for me, as I mentioned, though they often contain sweeteners. As usual, I occasionally try the lemon flavor from Full Gas and it works great. You now have more ways to avoid sugar. Which tip surprised you most or do you personally use? See you in the next video. Big hug, keep empowering.